are getting any kind of public assistance benefits, WIC or Section 8 housing or unemployment or SSI, Social Security, disability, anything like that. It's not exactly wrong, but you should be aware that if you start getting income you weren't having before from a cooperative, you can make yourself ineligible for the programs you might have been participating in if your income goes above a certain threshold. So it's just important to be aware of that. That might have been your intention, but it's not always. So you should just know that that's a possibility. Corporations, the reason why we establish corporations and LLCs is to give ourselves protection from legal liability that comes along with doing business, right? So somebody slips and falls on them because we didn't shovel the walk outside and they sue you. If you have a corporation, they can only sue the corporation. They can't sue you guys as individuals if you've done a really good job at running your corporation. If you don't do a good job at running your corporation, they can do what they call piercing the corporate veil, which is a bad thing, you don't want that to happen. I don't have time to get into it,
but this is true for cooperatives as well.
Oh yeah. Yep. Yeah. At the end of the day, legally, a cooperative is just like any other corporation or LLC. But if you haven't incorporated as a corporation or an LLC, there's no protection. And people are going to come after, if something goes wrong, they can come after your personal assets, your house, your car, your boat, your yacht, you know, all those things you don't want to lose. What can go wrong? All the money that you put into that cooperative, you can lose it. Everybody clear on that? You are an entrepreneur. You put your money into the co-op. If the co-op doesn't go well, that money goes poof and you don't ever get it back, right? If you do a good job protecting yourself, you're probably not going to lose more money than you put in, right? They're probably not going to come after your house and car and yacht. But if you really do egregious things, they can. If you really act in bad faith and ill will, yeah. If you do stuff like that, they will try to come after you personally. But most of the time, you can only lose what you invested in a cooperative. Isn't that comforting? If you fail to pay taxes, such as sales taxes and payroll taxes especially, but maybe corporate taxes, any kind of income taxes, the business can be shut down and have a big embarrassing sign on the window like this. Also, if you owe any money to anybody, like the government, for back taxes, if you're a war tax resistor, if you have child support payments that you haven't made, or if you have some kind of legal judgment against you, those things can all be docked from your wages in the cooperative. And there's a chance, although I don't think it's ever happened, but there's a chance they can come after your membership share in the cooperative as an asset that can be seized by the government if you owe any of those things. So you should be talking to lawyers.
So you would then no longer be a member?
That's a good question. I've asked a bunch of lawyers this. As far as I know, this has never happened. But what the lawyers tell me is that theoretically, if you owed money to either the government or some kind of creditor, they could potentially seize your membership share in the cooperative, but they probably can't become a voting member of the cooperative. So you would still be operating, and they probably can't force the sale. They probably can't liquidate that share. They probably can't force the sale of the cooperative or of that share. But it hasn't been tested yet. We don't know that. We don't want to. So there's risks and rewards. You're an entrepreneur. Don't forget it. Who can help? Your fellow cooperators. Remember number 6, cooperation among cooperatives? This is a little Boston-centric, but in Boston we have an association of worker co-ops called Workin'. Is there an association like that here in Worcester? Or it's more loose? I know you got all the worker co-ops talk to each other, but
it's like Roots is becoming
Worcester Roots is basically becoming that. Yep. In Western Mass, it's the Valley Alliance of Worker Co-ops. So organizations like that are really the first people you go to. Those are your peers, and they're very interested in you succeeding. Talk to people in individual co-ops, especially in the same industries as you. There's the US Federation of Worker Co-ops, which is a fabulous fabulous organization. It's small, but it's growing really fast and doing really well. They have just a ton of resources. You can call up their office and ask for help, and they'll direct you to the right place. They've just redesigned their website, and their website has a lot of information. They've just done a huge literature review. They have copies of examples of bylaws and operating agreements and personnel policies and evaluation procedures and all this great stuff. COPA is the branch of ICA, of the International Cooperative Alliance, that focuses on worker-owned co-ops. It's a French acronym. Oh, it stands for International Organization of Industrial, Artisanal, and Service Producers Cooperative, which is what we think of in the U.S. as worker-owned cooperatives. U.S. Federation of Worker Co-ops, I just talked to you about. U.S. Federation created an organization called DOWI, the Democracy at Work Institute. And Democracy at Work Institute has a project called Democracy at Work Network, DOM. Democracy at Work Network is an organization of peer advisors from around the country. They're people who have experience as members of worker-owned cooperatives who have been trained as co-op developers. Excuse me. I probably just read this one. Drink my water. But they're a really great resource. I'm a member of DAWN. I'm a professional member of DAWN. So you can call up. You can get services through DAWN that are pretty affordable. You get free time if you join the U.S. Federation of Worker Co-ops. You get 4 free hours of consulting. It's a really good thing to do. And then U.S. Federation of Worker Co-ops has a conference every 2 years. And in the off years, there's regional conferences. And in our area, the regional conference is called Eastern Conference for Workplace Democracy. We just had this in 2013. So next year's conference is going to be a U.S. Federation conference. It's going to be in Chicago. These conferences are such a great resource. And if you're in a co-op or interested in co-ops, you really got a budget to go to these conferences. They're like college. It's like going to co-op college. Co-op development centers. This is me. Boston Center for Community Ownership. We just started this up. We have a really good team of people who come from grassroots organizing groups, business backgrounds, and me, which comes from all those things. We focus on education and training for co-op. That's part of how I'm teaching Co-op Academy this year. Co-op Development Institute is an organization I used to work with. They're based throughout New York and New England. It's a decentralized organization. They do a lot of work with agricultural co-ops, with food co-ops, consumer co-ops. ICA Group is based in Boston. They do work nationally. They do a lot of consulting with ESOPs and worker co-ops and other kinds of economic development initiatives. And Ownership Associates is another firm in Cambridge that focuses mostly on ESOPs and union projects and employee buyouts. So those are all good organizations to look at. And then CFNE. This is, again, Boston-centric. So I don't think Maggie Cohn is the loan officer for Worcester. Who's the loan officer for Worcester?
She and I kind of...
So you're the loan officer for Western Mass, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I think Maggie's...
So I should have Spirit's face here. But in Boston, Maggie Cohn is our best friend. I don't know, like every cooperative in New England has a loan from CFNE. They're really the grease that keeps the wheels turning around here, and it's a really good organization. A lot of people are scared of talking to loan officers too early in the process because they feel like, they're like, well, what if I tell them the wrong thing and they're going to deny me and they're going to, it's not, you should not be scared of these people. Look at Spirit. He's a really friendly guy. Maggie says this thing which I really, really like. She never tells somebody, we're not going to fund you. She never says no. What she says is, here are the steps that you need to take in order to get ready to have a loan with us. And she said, and she gives you the opportunity to get ready, and she'll tell you what it is you need. She may send you to me to help. But anyway, working with CFNE is not something to be afraid of. They have money, they want to lend it to you, and they're not going to lend it to you unless you're ready for it. So don't be frightened of talking to them. We're out of time. We're 5 minutes over, but everybody else hasn't.
Yeah, let's see.
Do you guys want to see the nerdy stuff?
Yeah, get nerdy.
Yeah.
Okay.